Hey there, it's Kevin with Gone Rogue Games here with July. It's been a couple months since I've done these. Been super busy with everything in the store, excuses. But once per month, I try to give you 5 products that I think are cool buys right now or something interesting that you should look into. That I also want to give everyone a heads up on Patreon that you actually can order this type of stuff from me as well. So each month I look at usually accessories for card games like binders or sleeves, or in this case I'm going to showcase a lot of games here that are actually available to order, which I think are interesting if you are bored of Magic or if you're looking for a new game to try out. This is a good video for you to check out. So let's go ahead and start with the only accessory that has been released that I think is a cool accessory. This is the Boulder Tray by Ultimate Guard. This is a pretty sweet little a gig here. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or if you talk to me on Patreon about accessories, you know that boulders are my favorite deck box by far. So if you're looking for a boulder, which is just the top here, basically that's just your classic boulder, a little bit taller here because it needs the tray. Opens up like that. Pow! Has a dice tray. You can throw dice in it. Dice can go in it. And now you have your 100 card commander deck plus dice that can be held in there. And these can mix and match with colors too, so you can actually have even more colors on this. You can have red, white, blue, for example, as a Ultimate Guard Boulder Tray. And these are currently going for $9, I think. It's either 9 or 10. I think 9 is the Patreon price for these. MSRP of these are like 16, so pretty good little deal for the Ultimate Guards. I don't know if I can get the first wave anymore of this exclusive black and purple. This was the demo that was sent to me, but they are coming out in your traditional colors. So those will be releasing at the end of July. So if you're looking for Boulder Trays, you can definitely go ahead and start putting in orders, and I can get them shipped out to you when they do release. So again, I think it's just your classic colors from the Boulder, which is like your Malachites or Road Knights are named after gems. You can message me for a list of colors that I can go ahead and order. But these are really, really cool deck boxes, and now they can have the dice in them. So huge fan of boulders. I think they are just an excellent product, and this one is also a really, really good product. Alrighty, on it to the next product. So Flesh and Blood. I think Flesh and Blood is still a great game. I know it's had some hiccups here in the last few months, but the tournaments are actually very, very strong for how long Flesh and Blood has been going on. And they still managed to pull in over 1,000 people for the main event, which is, I mean, that'd be super strong back in the day for Magic. So I think the game does have legs. Unfortunately, they did have some printing issues where they overprinted, and they weren't the best at distributing them, and it caused a bunch of problems. And now we have Flesh and Blood going for super, super cheap for certain products. But I think they figured it out. Uprisings actually didn't have as much released as the sets before that, so they scaled it back, and now it's going to have the ability to grow naturally rather than having all the speculators kind of preying on speculators, and causing the bubble that occurred. So, which is good. It's a company that has definitely, it's a learning curve when you are, starting a card game of knowing how to kind of deal with, got to keep the players happy without, speculators ruining the game with buying up all the products and trying to, hurry and flip. And so I think they've got that out of their system now. I think the Flesh and Blood will really start to grow naturally and begin to recover. A great way to get in to Flesh and Blood is buying one of these classic battles, Rhinar for Dorinthia. So these are for new players, is what this is for. And let's just unbox this here. I haven't ever unboxed one of these before. I know it's gonna be a lot of duplicate cards that I already currently own, but it comes with 2 constructed decks from Welcome to Wraith was when this set came out. It's got your little learn to play. It will have a whole play mat here where you can learn to play right here from the instructions, which I think is good because they haven't actually released a product like this before. Got your little rule book here. There's a bit of a learning curve for Flesh and Blood. It is a game that's easy to pick up. It is very advanced to learn. I think it actually has skill level that's very, very similar to Magic, and they have these beautiful decks here. So let's go ahead and open them up. So this is going to be the Rhinar. So Rhinar, if you got to think about Magic terms, is basically like your mono green Stompy. It tries to put out some big hits. And so that's what the Brute basically does. And so I'll have to do a video sometime about how to play Flesh and Blood. I don't know. There's plenty of channels out there explaining it. But you start with these equipment on the field. So you have a headpiece, you have a chest piece, you have an arms piece, you have a leg slot, and then you have your character and a weapon. So that's how it looks when you set up Flesh and Blood, you start with these in play. Depending on what rules you're playing, some of these are actually your sideboard too. Like if you're playing Blitz, you just start with your weapon and your dude in play, and then your other opponent has as well, and then you pick your equipment to go with it. So then there's little rule cards in here, and they've actually created these. I believe these are new cards with these mentors. So it's the only way, I believe, to get these mentors. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Mentor is something that is only specifically for the Blitz format. And so this is the mentor for the Brute. And so how mentors work as if they come from your arsenal, then they go into play, and then they usually will have some sort of effect that stays static on the field until they're used up, and then they typically go and get a specialization after that. So I don't know if you can see that on my camera. My camera's not wanting to pick up the best at the moment with the text, but there is the Chief Rukutong is the mentor. You get some cool little M's here. I don't know if there is any new cards in here or not. Someone correct me if I'm wrong if this is a new card with this Alpha Rampage. But then we get a lot of R's here, which is a rarity, which is kind of like an uncommon in the scope of Magic, because you do get 2 rares per pack in Flesh and Blood. And then it's just a full deck that is ready to go. So there you have it. These are great ways to get in on the Flesh and Blood. They are pretty balanced from what I've heard, and wow, just generic resource. That's kind of funny to play against each other. And then, of course, then you can always upgrade these. So very similar to like Blitz decks, I would say, but they're specifically meant to teach new players. And so if you are looking to get into Flesh and Blood, this is a great way to do it. The cost is only $30 for the Classic Battles Rhinar versus Dorinthia. Let's go ahead and open this one up since we... Dorinthia is super, super strong. I'm not sure the meta right now of Rhinar. I know Rhinar has been strong at one point in time in Flesh and Blood, but there's a lot of variance to Rhinar. You need to hit a lot of cards. There's a lot of discarding randomly that works with Rhinar. But Dorinthia is actually super, super powerful. And got the Gallantry Gold there. That's a good card in a lot of the Warriors. I know how to play it in one of my decks here. And there's Dorinthia. The Quicksilver Prodigy. Are these new, actually? The first time gains go again each turn, you may attack. Okay, no, I think this is just the same. So there's Dorinthia Quicksilver Prodigy. Is that actually a new version? I don't know. Someone explain to me. I haven't actually looked at these. And we have the Dawnbreaker Resplendent as well in here. And nice little shiny foils. The foils are actually high quality in these. No curling. And the new Mentor. It's a Warrior Mentor. I'll have to look at this one because nope, this one has to be used for Dorinthia. Yep, you may only if your hero is young, because then it goes and gets the glistening. So actually, I wonder if you actually can use this with other warrior classes here, and there are quite a few of them. And I'll have to take a look at that. Been a while since I played Flesh and Blood. I'd love to get Flesh and Blood going again here. It's just there's too much noise right now with all the games that are out at the moment. But yeah, nope, but it goes and gets this glistening steel blade. So I guess you could use it with other warriors, but it'd be kind of useless though, because it needs to go in Dorinthia here. But there you have it. These are great little decks. I'm actually going to sleeve these up and add them to the pile of when teaching new players, and that way at my store we'll have some decks that are good to go, and we can get the Flesh and Blood going again at Gonero Games. If you're ever in the area too, if you ever watched my videos and are in the area and want to learn Flesh and Blood, come in and I'll teach you. I think it's a great game. It's right now it's my second favorite card game for sure. Still like Magic over Flesh and Blood. Kind of funny though, because I'd rather play constructed Flesh and Blood, but I'd definitely rather play limited Magic. But it's still a great game. I was very impressed with Flesh and Blood, and I hope the game stays around for a long time, because I think it is definitely a nice little idea for a game. It actually works very, very well. All right, next up we have a game called Metazu. Metazu is another thing that is available for order. This is another great way to get into Metazu, is what's called these release event boxes. Currently, right now, I think I can get Cryptoid Nation, I can get Wilderness, and I think I get one more. I can't remember the one I can get with them. But what they have is these are basically like pre-release kits, and I believe they are 12 or 13. I can't remember the price out the door for these, but they'll have their nice little rule book here, and then they're going to have kind of a seeded pack here. We'll go ahead and open this one here to show you kind of the card quality in here. And so got these little foils here, and yeah, these are seeded packs here because there's a lot of the same ones. 4 ghost ears, yep. And I think these are, what you're going to be doing is then you can add the packs to them. Again, I've never played the game, so I don't know exactly how it works. I'd love for someone to come in. These looks like they're basically lands, right? To then cast your cards. I think it does work very similar to Magic, how the game works. We'll go ahead and crack some of these and see what the game's like. So then it comes with packs. So this is a Cryptoid Nation pack. They're all Cryptoid Nation packs, so 10 additional cards. I don't know if it matters which pack you get, if there's just the artwork or not, or if these are going to be mainly the blue cards in this. Again, someone correct me about this game. I've never played it, so don't even know what I'm looking for in here. But I will have to give this. I think what we're going to do on Saturdays, I'm trying to think of a day, is have like a non-Magic day here at the store where we can play Pokemon or Flesh and Blood or Metazu or another game I'll be showing here in a second. But this is kind of a cool, it's got like this classic old school, like this game looks like it came out of the 80s with the way they do the art and the way they kind of do the text boxes and what. So there's a Death Beam right there. I don't know if that's just a foil or it's got a little star there. I don't know what the rarity of it. And then we have some lands. Yeah, that must be my rare there with the Death Beam. I know some of these can have a pretty hefty little price tag on them. But I would love for someone to come in and teach me this game here at Gonro Games. And maybe it will be another fan favorite. I'm going to get back to playing some of these more obscure or non-Magic games. I think it'd be fun to do a day where we just test out a different... Oh, we have board game night here on Friday where we play board games. But typically board game players don't really like card games. I know there's a kind of personality difference with them. But people that like Magic typically like to play these type of games. So we'll have to find a day to do that and just kind of grind out these games. So there's a red star on this one with the Frogman. Of course, you gotta like the Frogman. One of my favorite animals are frogs. And 2 more lands here. Yeah, I believe that you just add these packs to your kind of seeded pack, and then you can play it. All right, so our last pack here is going to have a Forest God's Amber. Forest God's Amber. Where fatigue is like tap. Fatigue it. Fatigue this page at any time to generate 2 green. And we have a lake and a cosmic aura. Yeah, it's got to work. It seems to me it does work similar to Magic just by reading these things. But there you have it. The other one you can get is this Wilderness pre-release event. And I believe I can get other products for Metazu, but this is the release event kicks are just a great way to get into the game and then learn the game and get going. So yeah, go ahead and give me some orders if you're interested in Metazu. It's something else that can be ordered with your Patreon rewards or your tier limits. So I guess I haven't shilled Patreon with this one. I know I do every video. I try to shill my Patreon because it's what keeps the lights open here. But what we do at Gonro Games is I do have a Patreon where for different tier levels you can order a certain amount of products per month, whether it be Magic or Pokemon or whatever. It depends on what tier serves you the best. You just pay your little subscription fee, and then every month you have available like 6 or 12 or 20 products per month you can buy at distributor cost. All you do is pay money up front, pay the shipping, and it's yours. You save some money, I make some money off you. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. It is a great time. All right, on to the next non-Magic. Is going to be that the My Hero Academia came out with another set called Crimson Rampage, and they're coming out with another set that I believe releases in August or September. I think is coming out. So this one's Crimson Rampage. I do have a few of these still left. This game is actually very, very popular right now. I had a very good first edition here with the My Hero Academia, just the regular, and then they came out with Crimson Rampage, and I can't remember what the next set is going to be called. But these are available. I believe I can still get unlimited boxes from the first set. I'm not sure if I can get first edition anymore, if it's into unlimited. I'm not sure what the difference is. I think they have promos in the first edition versus unlimited, but I think it will be unlimited that I can get, and it's $60 is the cost of these My Hero Academias. So if you're looking for another set, another card game, non-Magic to get into, they say this one has a nice flow back and forth, kind of like Flesh and Blood, where it's just you attack, I attack, you attack, I attack. Again, I haven't learned how to play this game. I need to learn how to play this game, as it seems very, very interesting. So there you have it. There's also some other games you can play with this whole universe system, but I know that My Hero Academia is by far the most popular, and it's got a whole tournament prize structure surrounding it. Like, we actually can do pre-releases here over at Gonro Games, so they give you these little judge packs or these plus reward packs or victory packs here for the pre-releases. And yeah, it's kind of a fun little time. If I can get enough people to play, we can actually do a little pre-release here. But there you have it. That's another one. The cost of those boxes are $60. There are a few other products you can get with them. There's these what's called loadable contents that you can get, and they are kind of interesting little card game. Last but not least, I always pick a board game every time I do one of these. So this is one of my favorite games for roll and writes. This is called Twice as Clever, and I've played this game so many times. And the cost of this is $15. For the cost of like less than a Pioneer Land, you can get a game with hours and hours of fun. So this is, you can play this actually solo, or you can actually play this with up to 4 players. And the concept is very simple for this game. Roll and writes are typically where you roll dice and scratch something off. And so for this particular game, you're going to have these different sections. There'll be a yellow section, a blue section, a green section, a pink section, and a silver section, which coordinate with the dice here. And so on your turn, you are going to roll the dice. You are going to pick one of the dice, and then you are going to get rid of any of the dice that are lower to the silver platter, and then your opponents can choose one of these at the end of your turn to mark off on their dice. So a good one here would be the white is always wild, so it can go anywhere. It's incredibly flexible. So the blue section wants to start with high numbers. The green section wants to start with high numbers, then low numbers. The pink is flexible at first, but then needs to be greater than or equal to 2 and all the way up. And then you get these bonuses when you cross them off. The silver platter is kind of cool because if you take the silver dice, you can actually mark off all of the dice on the silver platter. So for example, if I were to take this silver dice and put it here, you get 3 dice that you can go. That all the ones that I bring to the silver platter, I can also mark off on my scorecard. So for example, I'd mark maybe the 5 on the green, since it can go anywhere with the silver on the 5 mark, and then the 2 can go on the 2 on the green, and then I have these 2s that one has to go on the pink, and then one can go anywhere, so maybe I'd mark off the blue there. And I already got a nice little strategy going by marking off the silvers, and then it shows you how much you're going to score per how many you've marked off, and it's just a fun little roll and write. Then I'd have these dice to roll. Of course, I'd take the lower dice here, put the 2 here, maybe cross off a 2 on this one. On this particular game, you first have to circle the yellows, then cross them off, and then I'd be left with this blue, which blue in this game always adds the white, so you're going to be very flexible. So, whoops, that would go there, that would go there. I'd add the 6 to the 2 and mark off my 8 on the blue as an 8. And then all the ones later on, I'd have to go lower and lower. So, of course, that would be the best strategy going forward, but just to show you how it works. And you'd actually play this over a series of rounds, depending on how many players there are. And then at the end of the game, it's just whoever scores the most points in their different sectors wins the game. These foxes are kind of cool because if you ever get these bonuses by going up to this point, you get a fox, and the fox will score your lowest over again. So maybe I'll look at this one here. So I guess I played my mom here. Ha! Mom's a scrub. Look how bad mom is. So I scored 251 and my mom scored 175. And like I said, we've played this game so many times. I'm almost out of sheets. I'm going to buy another game here. And because I guess we did laminate them now, so we can play it over and over. But yeah, super fun game. One of the games I played the most. It definitely would be in my top 10 games I've played the most. And I actually do consider this one the best of the Clever line. There are 3 Clevers. There's That So Clever, which is the first edition. Then there's one that's called, then this is Twice as Clever. And then there's a third one that came out earlier this year called Clever Cubed, which I've only played one time, and I didn't really like it as much. I think it just tried to get too fancy. But this is by far my favorite version of the Clever. And there are so many other roll and writes if you actually do like these kind of, roll something, or even what we call flip and writes, where you flip over a card and write something on your board. There are so many of them, and I can give you some very good recommendations for them. This one happens to be probably, I would say this is my favorite roll and write out of all the roll and writes I've ever played. So Twice as Clever, easy, just cheap $15 game. You get hours and hours and hours of fun. That's a great game to take camping or to the lake or to the, we always just take these on vacation and it's a, there's a rainy day, or you're exhausted from a hike afterwards, where you just bust out like something like that. So clever, has some good times with the family. We also play it quite a bit here at the board game group. So there you have it. There are my top 5 products that I think are good little buys for July of 2022. We got the My Hero Academia line, the Metazu line. We have the Rhinar Classic Battles. Again, there's so much Flesh and Blood available right now. I can get everything unlimited right now. Yeah, I have access to everything but like Arcane Rising, or Arcane. What was Arcane set called? That one's a little bit hard to find, but everything else is pretty easy to find. And then we do have the Ultimate Guard Boulder Tray, which I think is a pretty cool idea for a deck box. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with Gone Rogue Games. I have the commonly ordered items updated for lots of people. Every time people basically order an item gets popular, I'll throw it up on the sheets, and then you can see the pricing for that. So I highly suggest you aren't a patron to go over to patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder and see if this is something that would work for you. Like I said, I think that everyone that has joined is pretty much like their benefits. Most of our patrons are, I would say the majority of our patrons now are been with me for over 2 years. So I have currently like 180, bounce between 170 and 180 patrons. And yeah, it's a pretty good service. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.